All right, a very bizarre story to tell you about. Listen to this one. So, a federal judge is granting an illegal migrant who has allegedly conducted other crimes a restraining order against ICE.
Let that sink in just for a moment there, right? ICE are the people who are supposed to go after folks who are here in this country illegally, not to mention those who are illegal and then also committing more crimes. Either way, Newsmax crime correspondent Jason Matera joins us. He's got the details. Jason, good morning.
Good morning, Sean Emma. So this might be one of the most bonkers rogue judge stories we've aired, or at least it's in the top 10. So you have a criminal legal, it's not alleged now, the criminal legal who did prison time for attempted murder somehow scored a restraining order against ICE. San Jose tattoo artist Guillermo Medina Reyes, an illegal alien from Mexico, convinced a federal judge on July 1st to block agents from detaining him. Already an activist favorite among progressives, Reyes had been organizing protests, rallies, and even hunger strikes, casting himself as the face of so-called unjust immigration enforcement.
The conversations that I've had with immigration officers, we're all criminals to them just because we weren't born here. But you do have a record. Yeah, but just like I do have a record.
Brought to the U.S. as a kid, Reyes reportedly tried to kill a rival gang member at 16 and spent the next decade behind bars. The moment he got out, ICE stepped in to detain him, but under the Biden administration, an immigration judge eventually let him walk, concluding that he wasn't a threat to the public. His lawyers claim he's now focused on transformation, healing, and community care, and Reyes is more than happy to echo the script.
People that have gone through similar situations, but for the simple fact that they're born here, they're left alone and they're not being criminalized.
But nearly a month after a federal judge first granted him a temporary restraining order against ICE, Reyes was back in the headlines. Berkeley police say that on July 27th, Reyes went on a deranged rampage. He entered a cafe shirtless, stole water, and swiped cooking oil. He then tried to carjack two vehicles, one with a 3-year-old inside, and even attempted to steal a big rig truck. Reyes was arrested and charged with 5 felonies, but because this is California, he was set free. No bail, just a promise to show up for his next court appearance and receive outpatient mental health treatment. Sean Emma, it's worth noting the judge who granted Reyes a restraining order against ICE is a Biden appointee. I know it's going to come as a shock to many people. She issued that order after he already was arrested for felony vandalism back in May. Arrested in May, felony vandalism. Her order was issued in July. So ICE tells us that the issue should be resolved in the coming weeks, but until then, they really can't talk about the case, but their hands are tied.
That is wild. Just a wild story. But again, California and the judge we're talking about, not a big shocker, but a wild story. Jason Matera, thank you very much. Bring back in Brian Lai, Newsmax contributor, and Frank Morano here, Republican New York City councilman. Brian Lai, I'd like to start with you if I can. Pretty wild. So isn't this the type of individual, someone that has committed several crimes, broken several laws here in the United States, that ICE is supposed to go after, and now there's a restraining order protecting that person here illegally and committing more crimes?
It is the height of hypocrisy, and of course it's happening in a state like California, but I mean, Sean, how many more times do we as Americans have to hear about stories of illegal immigrants that commit one crime, they're let out on bail, they commit 5 more crimes? I mean, what this guy did is very minor in comparison to some of the other horrendous things that have been done, like murder, like rape. I mean, when is enough going to be enough? And I don't think this is a right-wing talking point. This is the American people are done with this stuff. But in a state like California, it's going to keep happening, unfortunately.
You know what? To give this guy the benefit of the doubt, and I'm being very gracious, if you're putting on your liberal thinking cap and you think, all right, this guy was brought here illegally, got into some tough stuff when he was a teenager, he served his time, now he's out, he's trying to advocate for immigration reform, that's fine. But then Frank, he goes into that store, he steals the water, he steals the cooking oil, he's trying to carjack a vehicle. I mean, come on, man! You're ruining your own chances here.
And then to have the audacity to actually get a restraining order against ICE,
right,
a law enforcement agency. Nothing about this story makes sense. Which this story, more than anything else, and the frustration that average ordinary Americans have hearing about a story like this, points to why Donald Trump had such electoral appeal. I think so many people who, don't get Donald Trump, they would, after when he would say something or tweet something crazy, and they'd all say, how could a guy like that get elected? This is why a guy like that can get elected, because this is exactly what happens when you have a broken immigration policy coupled with ultra woke judges who are trying to basically push this extreme ideology from the bench.
Yeah, America, where dreams are made, even if you're illegally, you can get a restraining order against ICE. Somehow that happens. Disneyland, by the way, is in California. Where dreams come true. All right, gentlemen, stick around if you could. President Trump, speaking of, now suggesting this. Vice President J.D. Vance